Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Today it's Monday, November 28th, and I got home from Toronto like a few hours ago. So I'm wearing my Toronto hoodie. This is a new hoodie I got when I was there. I used to have like tons of stuff that said University of Toronto on it because I went there for undergrad. But like all of it has just like disappeared in the last 10 years. So I started at U of T just over 10 years ago. So like 10 years ago now, I was finishing my very first semester of undergrad. And I had this exact hoodie, I think, but in like navy with white, because even though like these things are like the same, and my aunt got it for me like before I got in. I think it was, she got it for me for my 18th birthday, and I didn't get it until like that May or April or whatever. So yeah, it was a little bit, April 4th was the day I got accepted to Trinity. Yeah, so yeah, it was in Toronto, obviously. If you watch my channel, you know I went to Toronto last week for American Thanksgiving. And I have now come back with a Canadian accent because I was there for 5 days or 6 days and was only talking to Canadians. So this is what happens to me. I talked like this all the time when I lived in Canada. I came back and I lost it. It took me a little bit, but I did lose it. But yeah, I get, it's like you snap back into it when you're here. Or when you're there. So I did, yeah, definitely. And we were staying with my mom's friend, Barb, who is from Alberta. Barb and her husband, Peter, are both from Alberta. And Barb has a really thick Alberta accent. So like being around Barb is like definitely like, oh yeah, that's how they talk. And I slide right into it. So anyway, I had a great trip. I feel so lucky to have had so many days there, and I had such a good time. I got to see a ton of my friends. Everyone who still lives there, I got to see them. A lot of my friends don't live there anymore because like they graduated and moved on, etc. They work elsewhere. But all the ones who still live there, and a couple who live out of town who were like in town for like a couple of days, I got to see them too. Like my cousin Matt he has been working in Prince George, British Columbia, which is like the middle of effing nowhere. And he's a newspaper reporter, and he works in news. And he recently finished undergrad. So he went to Prince George for a year to do like a 1-year gig there with like a new paper where he got lots of great experience. And he is about to move to Calgary because he got a job at the Calgary Herald, which is in Alberta, if you aren't familiar with Canadian cities. And Alberta is the second westernmost province in Canada, so it's next to British Columbia. That's where my mom's from. So Matt's moving to Calgary, which is great because nobody lives close to our grandparents at all. Like we're all pretty scattered. Matt's mom and dad live in Toronto, and then the other sister, Margot, lives in San Francisco, and then my mom obviously lives in Vermont. So I think grandchildren, well, Ben lives in Seattle. The rest of us are like in the States or Toronto. And yeah, so Matt's moving to Calgary, and my grandparents are 85, so it's kind of good to have somebody nearby, right? They still live in their house. They're very healthy at the moment. Obviously that can change when you're 85 very quickly, but they are healthy. So that's good. Yeah, so I did some knitting. I did not record anything with my aunt. I almost asked her, but we really didn't have very much time. So she is knitting a cape, or like a poncho, I guess. So she has this poncho, it's wool. I think it's wool. It's definitely protein fibers. It might have cashmere or alpaca, but it's like just like it's like this long, and it's just like really simple poncho. And she wears it all the time. She always has worn it. She always wears something like this. It's really classy. It's like light gray, and you can kind of just like bring it up over your shoulders and just kind of wear it under your coat like that, and then just like pull it back down if you like need it. Yeah, it's like almost like a shawl. It's a very multi-purpose kind of item of clothing. So she wanted to, my mom was like, oh, did you knit that? And she was like, no, I bought it, or my husband bought it for me. And my mom was like, oh, there's a fire. We live in the same street as a firehouse. So my mom was like, oh, you could knit that? And Carrie was like, really? I could knit it? And my mom was like, yeah, there's not even any purl stitches in this thing. Like, you could totally knit this. Emma can reverse engineer this pattern for you. So I was like, yeah, that's no problem. The one that she has got 2 seams, like down the sides, but I was like, you can do it seamless, just knitting in the round, no problem. So we went to Unit Toronto, which is a great store. Quite famous on social media. They've done a lot of stuff in COVID, like free patterns and all this awesome stuff. The woman who owns it, her name is Claudia Quintanilla. She publishes a lot of patterns in like Lina and just like on Ravelry. Really nice patterns. Beautiful store. So they have a huge range of price points at this store. It's one of my favorite knitting stores in Toronto. I only went to 2 stores, knitting stores while I was there. I went to Unit TO and I went to Romney Wools, because Romney Wools is like a warehouse. It's amazing. So, Carrie got a Drops Wish, which is like Aran weight, in like a beige color, and we started working on it. She needs to learn how to increase, so she's been working on increases for the past 24 hours. But I got Drops Air. I got a sweater quantity of Drops Air in this color, which is Pearl Gray 03. It's really hard to find Drops in the US because nobody distributes it here, but you can get it in Canada. So, and it's really cheap. Like, if this was $10.95 a ball. This was 50 gram Aran weight skein ball, but it was 225% off because it was Black Friday. So that was more discounted. And everything is 25% off for me because of the exchange rate anyway. So this was inexpensive. And I got 7 balls to make like one of the like Espace Tricot, like turtle doves or whatever. It's just like a turtleneck, I think, cozy sweater. So I got this at Unit TO. And I'm going to do my haul first. I only got a little bit of yarn. I mean, I got 7 of these, so that's pretty substantial. But I then got, at Romney Wools, I got my classic. I always get this at Romney Wools because they have so many different self-patterning sock yarns there. And this is one of my favorites, Online Super Sock. It costs like $16 Canadian a ball, which is pretty good. That's like $12 US. It's not bad. I got this yarn last year. I got this exact same type because I know that this farthest one, this turquoise one up at the top, that's the one that I got and knitted. And then this one, I think this one. Let's see if it says 2127. Is this one? 2127, does it say? No, this says 234. Ha! It doesn't matter. Oh yeah, here we go, 2120. Oh, it's that one. Okay, it's not the one I thought. It's this one over here. This second one over here. But anyway, I just thought it was nice. And I might make like my dad some socks with this or something. I don't know. I like it. Online Super Sock. Fourfach or vierfach probably means, I think that means 4-ply. I don't know. It's made in Turkey, but it does say Schuhwolle. So I think that's German. And polyamide, doesn't matter. Waschmaschine fest. Garantiert filtrei. It means it's safe to go in the washing machine. Superwash. I think. If you have better German than I do, let me know if that is incorrect, because I think this is superwash. Anyway, I got this and I like it. I'm excited. I love self-patterning sock yarn. I love self-striping socks, but I love self-patterning even more. I find it really fun. So got that, and got some Kinkle Cosmos. I got 2 of these so I can make Love Note-esque, just woolen mohair and sequin sweater. And I saw Tracy of Grocery Girls Knit wearing her version of that at Rhinebeck, and I was like, I gotta make one of those. So they don't distribute Kinkle very much in the US. You can get it at I'll link in the show notes, of course. I think you can get it at like Oh my gosh, that's so glittery. I hope that's the screenshot, the thumbnail. You can get it from like Lovecraft or something. I'll link it where you can get it in the US. This is from Skipton, which is a place in the UK that they're constantly talking about in Last Tango in Halifax. If you haven't seen The Last Tango in Halifax and you like British TV, it's on Netflix and it's very sweet. It's a family drama about two elderly folks whose spouses have passed away, and they were like really into each other when they were like 16, and then the girl's family moved away, and the boys, she gave a note to like her friend to give to this guy with her like forwarding address, and it never got passed on. And my favorite part about that is it turns out that the girl that the main character Celia gives the note to turns out to not have given the note to the fellow because she had a crush on him, and they ended up getting married. And then so that's why she never gave Celia's note to what's his name? It's Derek Jacobi, Alan, which is a fun plot point. But it's great, and it's about their kids and their grandkids and everybody. And they're up in Halifax, which is in the north of England, and Skipton is up there, I think. Oh no, maybe Skipton is where they're always talking about in Gentleman Jack, which also takes place up there. That's also a good show. That's on HBO. Gentleman Jack. Yeah, they live in Skipton. Anyway, they probably talked about Skipton and Last Tango in Halifax as well. And you should watch both. This is King Cole Cosmos in colorway Orbit 1098. And I got 2 of these, and there's 429 yards in each one. So that's the same as in a skein of 50 grams of mohair. So I just got 2. They only had 2, so I got 2. And these were like $10 each. Canadian, cheap, not expensive. So on the stove right now is the wool and mohair that I'm gonna put together to dye this beautiful, or to knit this beautiful sweater. And it's quite brown. It's like brownish gold. I'm gonna have to alternate skeins. It's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be very tonal with the mohair and the wool and the glitter. It's gonna be great. I'm very excited. I can't wait. So that's what I got in Canada. Yeah, that's it. I need to make this not super long. Jordan's at the grocery store. Hannah's not back yet. Jordan's at the grocery store. That's my spinning stuff to talk about later. I've decided that I'm gonna include spinning stuff in my videos, but at the end. So if you're not interested in that, you can just stop when I'm like, okay, time to talk about the stuff that I've been spinning. I just feel like it's less alienating and people are like, I came for what I wanted. So I've never had a process for these, but now I'm like, that's my process. So yeah, today, acquisitions, whips, no FOs, but some like half finished, so hose, and then spinning. So, okay, so when I went to Toronto, I was like, what do I want to bring? I want to bring everything that's like small, so socks. So I brought a few skeins of sock yarn, or 2 skeins of sock yarn that I hadn't cast on, and then 2 pairs that were already cast on. And I was like, I don't know how much I'm gonna finish. We'll see. So, and then I brought the Brooklyn Tweed Loft scarf that I'm knitting for my grandpa, which I got a lot done on. And I finished the first ball, and I think it will just take 2 balls because this is quite long and it will stretch so much. So you can see this is quite see-through. It's not super dense, but it's Brooklyn Tweed Loft. It's, you know, it's really thin and it's very airy. So it's just a plain, again, the pattern is just, this column is all knit stitches, this column is garter stitch, and then this column is purl stitches. So every single row is knit 2, purl 1, knit 2, purl 1, because I'm knitting it back and forth. Maybe at some point I'll just write up a quick pattern for it because that seems simple. But I did a lot of knitting on this when I was just like sitting around or in the car or whatever. So that's nice. I find it a bit boring, so I like to do it when I'm like being social, because then I don't notice that it's boring because it's something to do with my hands and I'm always grateful to have knitting. So yeah, okay, this is a bit of a mess. Everything is always a bit of a mess. I forgot to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb and I'm getting a ton of texts. I apologize too. All the people who are texting me. Knitting. Maybe it was Knitting. I don't know. Sarah texted me a bunch of times. Sorry, Sarah. I'll reply later. She doesn't watch this. I don't think. Knitting watches. I don't think you texted me then, but if you did, I'm sorry. I'm gonna reply after I finish filming this video. Okay. I finished. Oh, I do have an FO. I lied. I have finished these socks. What's that? Oh, right. Yeah, right. That's right. I finished my next sample, my third sample of Anne Elliott socks for my next year's sock releases. A bunch of folks have been testing this. If you were testing this for me, thank you so much. I really like these. These are not blocked. Obviously, this is done in Mondim, Rosa Pomara Mondim. I actually talked to somebody at Unit TO the other day when I was there, and they were buying this type of like this self-patterning Mondim, and they were like, does it stripe? And I said, no, it does not. I mean, it sort of does, but not really. It's not like a regular. I mean, I guess it's regular, but it's just, I don't feel like it doesn't look like self-striping, which I kind of like. It's really fun. And I really like this texture pattern on it, the seersucker texture pattern. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So I'm excited to block these. I think they're gonna look really nice. And that's my next pair. So, drama with my socks for this next year is that I lost my September socks while I was working on them. They just fell out of my bag and I don't know where they are. This is the Mondim leftovers. I didn't weigh this. I haven't weighed it yet. I'm gonna weigh it in a minute after I finish filming this so I know how much yarn that took. But I finished that on the way to the airport. Maybe I finished it while I was sitting in the airport on Tuesday last week because I got to Dulles really early. I took transit to Dulles. I took the MARC train from Camden Yards to Union Station because we live really close to Camden, and so Jordan dropped me off. Then I took the Red Line to Metro Center, and then I took the Silver Line all the way to Dulles because now you can do that, which is very exciting. It just opened like 2 weeks ago. And it took probably like a total of 2 hours and change, not like 2.5, but I was pretty quick on the transits. Like they didn't have to wait a long wait time for any trains. Today it took a bit longer because I had to wait for a couple of trains and I had to like get back. Today I landed at like just before 11 and I was like on the metro by like 11:40. I had to wait a bit at the platform, like 10 minutes. But then I got the Red Line and then I was in good time to like get on the MARC with not like to like run to the MARC train. I had like 25 minutes so I could get like a sandwich and get on the train. So, and then I got to Baltimore at 2:20 and Sarah picked me up and brought me home. So that was good. Yeah. It's very important to have friends who are freelance artists so they could pick you up at the train station at 2:30 in the afternoon when everybody else is at work. So yeah. Anyway, that one got done on that train ride. Then, what I meant to do, and I didn't work on these at all, and I feel like an idiot for even bringing them. I meant to finish these socks. So I finished the first Eleanor Dashwood sock, which I showed you last week. Second one's exactly where it was. Did not work on that at all. No progress. So tonight I'm gonna work on this. I would like to get at least the heel done. So after I finished the Mondim socks, I cast on my November socks. So I'm very behind. This is, okay, a continuation of my tangent. The September socks got lost. These are the October socks. They're not done. It is now almost the end of November. I have knitted a pair of Eleanor Dashwood socks that are finished. I knitted them when I was just back from England in May. I think I knitted them in May. April and May. Those are done. But these ones aren't done. And then November, I didn't even cast them on until on Tuesday when I was sitting in the airport. So this is my beautiful November color, which I really like. It's like very funky. And I finished the first sock today on plane. I did another little panel sock, which I love. It's very cute. I'm gonna do the other one. Panel will be on the other side. I did a panel sock for my Kitty Bennett socks in February and I really liked it. It goes really quick. There's no purling in this pattern. It's just knitting. The other one, the Kitty Bennett socks I did had a, the pattern was outlined with a purl stitch. But this one I didn't do that. I was gonna do it and this is why I didn't. The lace panel is an even number of stitches. So you can't bookend the, you could if you did like some kind of ribbing that was like decorative and not just plain, like I did 1 by 1 ribbing. So if it were an odd number, I could frame it with a purl stitch and have that go straight into the pattern, which is really cute and classy, but that wasn't gonna happen because there's 10 stitches in the lace pattern. So I just didn't do any purling. I just did the lace panel and I like it. I think it looks really nice. So these are my Fanny socks, my Fanny, what's Fanny's last name? Price from Mansfield Park. She's a kind of a buzzkill. She's a bit of a vibe killer, but I think these are nice. So November, there's like one sock done, whatever. I did start a pair of September socks finally because the other ones got lost. September is Mrs. Bennett. Mrs. Bennett has a plain pattern. These are not, this is not a very Mrs. Bennett-y color, but I think maybe she would knit something like this for Mr. Bennett. So these are for my dad for Christmas. Super simple pattern, exactly the same pattern as the scarf, but done in the round and not back and forth. Cast these on when I was on the airplane. Got a good amount done the leg on all of my train rides that I took today. And now it looks, yeah, it's really, I love it. Look, the look of it stretched. It's a natural ribbed pattern. So it's, you know, knit one, purl one, and then in the second round, it's knit one, purl one, purl one. So it's knit 2, purl 1, and then second round, knit 1, purl 2, and then you just repeat that. So it is a ribbing. There's just a garter stitch in the middle of each knit and purl column. Did knit 2, purl 1, rib for the cuff. So giving away all my pattern secrets, but I don't care. Knit this if you want. I mean, reverse engineer my pattern. That's like very impressive. If you can do that, I appreciate that. You should do that. Yeah, I love this little stitch pattern. It's super simple. It's super quick, very meditative, easy to know what row you're on, no problems. So I've got a bunch of single and half done socks and I need to deal with that. I also brought these because I was thinking I was gonna do, this is just like a marled DK sock. I was thinking I was gonna do this with the green and then I decided not to. I can't remember why. Oh, it was because the pattern was off. Yeah, I was gonna do the Anne Elliot pattern on this too, but then I did knit 2, purl 2, rib, which doesn't make sense structurally. The integrity of the pattern is maintained if you do a knit 1, purl 1, rib for the Anne Elliot sock because it is a 4-stitch repeat with every other column is the same. Complicated, sorry, it's a little complicated and confusing, but I didn't want to do that pattern with a knit 2, purl 2, ribbed cuff, so I figured I'd just leave it and just do a regular ribbed pair of Thanksgiving socks with my Felici stash, which is large. My Felici stash is large and in charge. So that didn't get any work done either. I could have left this and the red, but I like to have options. So that's all that. And then I have this pair of headphones in here, which I didn't use, but I always keep them in case my AirPods run out of battery. Speaking of which, I need to clean out my ears because I was sleeping with earplugs at Barb's. My mom and I were sharing. Sometimes she snores and it keeps me awake. So I wear earplugs, which work great. I always sleep really well with earplugs, but I might have in this ear issues with earwax buildup if that happens. So I have to make sure that I clean them because one time, it was my brother's high school graduation, my right ear was completely blocked. Couldn't hear a damn thing. So that was bad. And then I had to go to urgent care and they had to blast all the earwax out with water, which was disgusting, but immensely satisfying. So if that happens to you, they can just fix it at urgent care. But you can get your own like ear flushing kit. It doesn't work as well as the blaster that they have. And I'm always like a little disappointed that it's not like as powerful as that, but it's a bit gross. So sorry for TMI. But yeah, okay, there's a lot of socks. I did finish some socks. I finished another single sock. I got a lot of sock work done. I had this pattern for the socks written out on this like just like a piece of yellow paper, just like notepad paper that I just like, I usually have charts that I work from that are like on a picture on my phone or something, and they like chart up in a charting software, but I didn't do that. I just had a photo of the like Barbara Walker Stitch Dictionary, and so that doesn't have charts. The third volume has charts, but this volume doesn't have charts. So I think the fourth volume also has charts. I don't have that one. I almost got it at Romney Wolves, but then I was like, no, this is like $40 and I can get it for like $2 on Amazon used, or Thrift Books or Abe Books used. So I'll just do that because it's better for the environment. And I, anyway, had just like a text of this pattern. And so I just wrote it, like I charted it myself on just like a piece of yellow notebook paper, like a little piece. And I got into Canada and I was like, oh, if they search me, they're going to think it's like a secret code I'm bringing in. But it was just like a lace pattern. So that was fun. Yeah, I got lots of work done on knitting. I'm very satisfied with how much I did get to knit. I did knit it all yesterday. I was so busy yesterday. Okay, let's do spinning chat. So this I just plied. This is Yovel Sour, a colorway from John Arbin in the Appledore range. So you can buy this as a DK or lace weight, just spun up like this. I'm really pleased with this. It's very even. So I spun it last weekend, and then both the bobbins were just sitting there full of singles for me to ply as soon as I got home. So I did, which was kind of nice. And it is very interesting. There's a lot of teal. It's hard to read the color. There's kind of like some grayish. I mean, basically the color was like a blue, a teal, a white, and a kind of grayish. And it's really fun. I mean, you can just like spin across the top, but I don't usually do that. I like strip it a lot. I'll like, first I break it in half by weight, and then I like break it into pieces, and then I strip that into like 6 more pieces. So there's a lot more just like color variation throughout the skein, which makes it more interesting. So I don't know how many yards are in this skein, but it is a DK sport weight, which is my kind of typical gauge. Yeah, it looks pretty much just like the version of Appledore that I have in this skein that John Arbin milled and like spun, rather than the top. So I love this. I will be spinning another John Arbin top this week, probably. I don't know. I gave my mom the barber pole yarn I made that was like blue and like sage green and a darker green. This also isn't finished, so I'll be interested to see if it changes. Excuse me. I'm allergic to everything. So I have my water. Animal dander. A ton of it on that. I just put it really close to my face. So I just, yeah. I clear the airway a bit. Okay. Right now, I'm spinning Rolex. So on Monday, last week, my birthday, thank you all so much for the lovely birthday wishes, by the way. It was really sweet. On Monday, I had a bunch of friends over for knit night. It was a really good time. And my friend Sarah brought her blending board, which she made from a piece of wood and whatever that's made the blending boards or carders are made out of. Like, she just got a piece of it, just glued it to the blending board, and she just uses a cat brush to make Rolex. So she brought that. She actually forgot the cat brush, but the Rolex were fine as long as you have chopsticks. She managed to do it fine, and she just brought it and like made Rolex, and she like let other people make Rolex and showed people how to do it. And they're really fun. I've never spun from Rolex. I did make a Rolex once at Sarah's apartment, and she brought it and she said, you should spin the one you made. And I remember when I made it, and she was like, this is huge. It's so big. It is so big. It's just like, I've been spinning it for like 20 minutes and I'm like, this thing is not changing at all. It's so big. And a bunch of these are from fiber that I just like was initially spinning when I first started spinning, and just like, excuse me. Sorry, I just had like a massive coughing fit. Anyway, when I first started spinning, I used to just have a lot of fluff come off. You know, when you like don't understand like in a ball of fluff, you know, when you're first learning how to spin in it. Spinners know what I'm talking about. When you're like learning a new technique and it just gets out of your hands or becomes fluff or whatever. you spin a bunch too loosely and it just breaks. And anyway, I always collect those and I give them to Sarah because I know she makes Rolex. So she actually brought some of that over and she was like, I'm returning it to you and now you can spin it again, which was really cool. And then she has some sparkle fiber that she wanted to spin and make into Rolex. And so a bunch of the ones that she made and left me with are very glittery. I know that a lot of people use Rolex to spin woolen. I have not learned how to do that. And I don't want to try with these nice Rolex because they're really nice. This one is super neon. There's a couple that are super neon. She has the neon jacquard colors. I don't have those. But maybe I'll get some. I know where to get them. She told me where to get them. So maybe I'll just borrow hers. These are really cool. So that's fun. I'm very excited about that. So haven't been spinning in the past week at all, but did just apply this, obviously, and will be spinning Rolex. And I think I'm going to spin all the Rolex on one bobbin, and then I'm going to just spin up some gray on another bobbin, and I'm just going to apply them together so it's like a Rolex with gray. It's a little muted. It'll be kind of fun. Yeah, like a random like rubber pole, but against a gray. I think that'll be nice. So yeah, I had a very nice trip. I'm just going to talk about that now. You can stop if you don't want to hear about it. I got to Toronto on Tuesday afternoon, hung out with my cousin who had just gotten in from Prince George. I started telling the story earlier, didn't finish it. My cousin Matt, he was living in PG and he just finished up like last week, like a week, the Friday before last or something. He finished up there. Like a wool mustache. I probably shouldn't put this so close to my face or I'll die. He finished up in PG and then he flew back to Toronto to see his parents and his grandma and stuff. His other grandmother lives in Toronto, so he saw her. And his parents are rebuilding their house, so they're living around the corner from what used to be their house is now just a pit. They're just renting a house around the corner. But they have another house in like a ski chalet in Panorama, which is in British Columbia. So they're going there on Tuesday, so they're not going to be around. And Matt's going to Calgary to work at the Calgary Herald, as I said. And their other son, Johnny, he works in Toronto, so he's going to stay there. He gets this super cool house to himself, which is fun. And they have a dog that they're bringing. They have a black and white, technically it's a golden doodle, but also border collie, because it's black and white. Her name is Pepper. She is super fun and exciting and very sweet. So that's fun. I stayed with them for one night. And then my mom and Ian came on Wednesday, and Ian stayed at their house, my brother, for a couple nights, and my mom and I went to go stay at Barb's downtown, which is really, Barb lives right like 10-minute walk from where I used to live. Like, she doesn't live in Chinatown. I used to live right on the main street of Chinatown. So if you go like up from Chinatown and then you go over a bit, just a little bit west, she lives there, which is it's a really good location. That's close to the U of T, the University of Toronto. And it was fun. So we got to stay with Barb and just like do all sorts of cool stuff. So I got to see a bunch of people before my mom and Ian got there. I got to see my best friend Jeff, who I hadn't seen in 3.5 years because I didn't go to Toronto for like 2.5 years. And 2 years, just over 2 years. So the first time I went back since COVID started was last year in October for Canadian Thanksgiving. And Jeff was going to his family's cottage in Muskoka, and we were going to overlap for like 2 hours. And I wanted to see him, but I had to go see John, who was my organ teacher from undergrad, who at the time was going through prostate cancer treatment, and I was like, I don't know if this is the last time I'm gonna see him, so I gotta go. So I couldn't see Jeff, which was sad. And I felt sort of bad because he's like one of my best friends like ever. And so I saw him on Tuesday. We caught up, just two of us. And then on Wednesday I saw my friend Christy. We caught up, just two of us. And Saturday I saw Lexi, my roommate, and they're my 3 best friends. And then the 3 of us went out together last night and all gossiped together. So I had to see them all one-on-one, and then we all got together, which was really fun. Wednesday I saw Carol, one of my professors from U of T, who also knits, which is very exciting. So we talked about knitting a little bit. Just caught up. She's retiring, so I try to get everybody to knit. I was like, "Oh, you should knit. You should knit more." That was nice. And then I saw my friend Jennifer for lunch, and then I went to Evensong because my teacher John, who last year was undergoing cancer treatment, I thought maybe he was like not fine, but he's like, "I'm fine. Come to sing Evensong, please." And so it was like a real treat, a big throwback. I used to sing Evensong every single Wednesday of undergrad. Never missed Evensong. 96 Evensongs in a row I sang. Well, 100 if you count those extra ones. Yeah. 104 if you count the Advent services. 104 Evensongs, never missed a single one. In undergrad. They did pay me to be there, so I couldn't really miss it. But I missed 2 rehearsals in all of undergrad, 2 rehearsals on Monday night rehearsals, and 0 Evensongs. And I missed rehearsals once in first year because I had a calculus midterm, and once in 4th year because I had the flu. Lexi and my friend Lena and I all got some. It was just like, and Neil we all got that. Yeah, all of my choir friends, we all got that, and we all didn't come to rehearsal that one time in 4th year. So yeah, that was great. And then I went out with Christy that night to Thai food at Yonge and Eglinton, and then we went to her apartment. She lives on the 51st floor of this building, which is terrifying. We went on the balcony, and I thought I was gonna die. I say with a huge grin on my face because I'm a thrill seeker, clearly. We had that was really fun. And Christy and I are going to Taylor Swift together with our friend Eva in May in Chicago. We got Chicago tickets. It was such a mess getting Taylor Swift tickets, but we got them. Christy got them. She waited in the line for 5 hours for us. Almost 6 hours. So I'm gonna go by Toronto in May because Christy and I are gonna road trip to Chicago from Toronto. We're gonna go in her car. So I'm gonna fly there and we're gonna drive together. And I just like, I was there for 6 days, but I really I never get to see people enough. So, Thursday, I mostly spent the day with my brother and my mom, and we went thrift shopping together, and I had lunch with one of my really close friends, Vanessa, who is living in Kitchener or Waterloo. I don't know. She's from KW, which is about 2 hours east. I think it's east of Toronto. No, it's west, right? I think it's west. It's toward London, right? It's west. I went to visit KW once when in the summer. Lexi and I went out. My roommate Lexi and I went out to stay with Vanessa and her family for a couple nights, and it was really nice. Maybe I went with Lena, our other friend. I don't know. Anyway, we went there and stayed with Vanessa's family. They're really nice. And the Vanessa lives there. She's a teacher. But she's doing a master's degree at U of T right now, and a second master's because she already has her M.Ed because she is a teacher. And she is doing an MA now in education. So she's on campus about once a week. So she was on campus on Thursdays, and she commutes into the city on Thursdays to take her class, her in-person class, or classes. I think it's just one class. So we had lunch, and that was really nice because she got married, and we had to catch up on a lot of things. And that was really nice. And she told me that she watches my channel sometimes, and I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, I don't really knit, but I'm sort of teaching myself how to knit. But I just like hanging out with you online, virtually. And I was like, oh my God. That really, it was touching. She's one of my best friends from. We had a little crew. Me, Vanessa, Lexi, my roommate, and Susanna, who's Vanessa's roommate for a while, and Lena, who was also Susanna and Vanessa's roommate. She and Susanna lived together. Susanna and Lena lived in the same room in first year. That's how they all met. And then Lexi was in class with Susanna So all 5 of us became really good friends. And yeah, that was kind of one of our, and then Christy, Susanna, and Vanessa all went to France in our 3rd year. So they weren't around that year, but Christy lived at home, so she wasn't always around campus, but we were all friends. And that was like, yeah, so it was really good to catch up because I also hadn't seen Vanessa in 3.5 years. So since 2019. So a lot happened because she got married. And it was just like really nice to catch up. And then we had Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday night, which was pretty chill, but it was like, my aunt did make turkey. She made a turkey breast, which was really good. It was so good. My mom was like, I'm getting one of those and freezing it, making it at Christmas. And like potatoes and cauliflower and stuffing, and it was really good. But it wasn't like huge, and we didn't have like a million people. It was just 7 of us because my dad was in Albuquerque. He was moving his mom from Albuquerque to Phoenix with his youngest brother. And so my dad and all his brothers went to Phoenix for Thanksgiving together to be with their mom, which was really sweet. So yeah. Yeah, Friday, should I do? My mom and I must have hung out on Friday. What did we do? I don't even know. Ian left. Oh, we went out with Carrie on Friday. That's when we went to Unit TO. We went out with my mom's sister Carrie. We went to the Polish grocery store Starski's, and we went to Adonis or Adonis, or anyways, a Middle Eastern grocery store. It was really good. Out in Mississauga, which is just west of Toronto. Then we went to Unit, which was fun, and we had dinner at Barb's with my mom's friends, Barney and Caroline, and my mom and Barb's friends. And they have 2 daughters who are really close to Ian's age, so we didn't see them because they were at university. They're both at Dalhousie, so sad didn't get to see them because I learned that one of their daughters likes to knit and crochet. And so I said, great, well, I'll have to send her some handspun. That sounds fun. And Saturday, my mom and Barb and I went down to Queen Street, which was really fun. I tried on a jumpsuit and it was $500, but it was so nice. And I was like, I'm not buying this, but maybe next year for my 30th birthday, I'll buy it. I'll save up all my money and I'll buy a $500. I mean, in US dollars, it's like $375. That's not that bad. But it was really nice. It was like a really beautiful, like full length, full sleeve jumpsuit. And I had like a belted middle. So usually jumpsuits have too much fabric in the middle for me and they just look weird, but this one was so nice. And so I said next year when I'm 30, this will be my gift to myself if I still want it then. I did get some secondhand Dansko clogs that are amazing. They're like black and red paisley. And I love Dansko clogs, and I always get them. I have a bump on my right foot that like sometimes makes them really uncomfortable because they're too tight. So I got a really nice pair of like oxblood Dansko clogs like 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was before I went to graduate school, so like 6 years ago. And yeah, I just hit the top of my foot in a really uncomfortable way on the right foot. And so my mom wears them. She doesn't have a bump on her foot. She has a bunion, so she has the same bump in a different place on her foot. But she just, she has them now. And then I got another pair that weren't so bad. They were brown, but I lost one of them when I was like somewhere in the kids' house, probably when I was nannying, is one single brown Dansko clog. So anyway, these ones were like, they were secondhand, but they look brand new, and they were like $28, like Canadian. And I was like, that's $20 USD. I need to buy them. So I got them, which was great. I almost couldn't bring all my luggage home because my mom got me a pasta maker for my birthday. Wow, if I were really Canadian, I would have said pasta maker. She got me a pasta maker attachment for my KitchenAid stand mixer because I'm the dumpling queen. My friends all know. I make pierogies, I make pot stickers, I make chicken and dumplings, which is a very different type of dumpling that you don't actually have to do any work to make. But yeah, I do all of that. And so she said, next up, ravioli, pasta dumplings. So she got me a pasta maker attachment for my KitchenAid, but I didn't have room for it. So she had to take it back to Vermont to send it to me. But I'm very excited to get to know this new form of dumplings. Anyway, yeah, we did that on Friday and then or Saturday. Yeah. Oh, and then I went out with Lexi on Saturday night for dinner. And Sunday, so I went to church. I had my Helmsley. Oh, it was so epic. Okay, so sometimes Helmsley is done like not super slowly, like it's kind of moves. And when I play it at my home church, well, I don't really play anymore, but when I did, my teacher Mark would always say, "You have to play this faster." Like I would always like play it like really languid, like. Sorry for my bad impression of an organ. But he would always say, "You have to play this faster. The congregation needs to move a little bit more. It needs to have more life." But in Toronto, they always play it at St. T's Huron Street, which is my church, St. Thomas's Huron Street. Really like, it reminds me of a sea shanty. It's slow, it's very like stately, it's very majestic. And Elizabeth, the organist, a very good friend of mine, she did it justice. It sounded amazing. And she played my favorite reharmonization, which is by Martin Howe, who recently passed away. And it's so good. It doesn't start off that crazy, but there's so many notes. Like I don't even have enough fingers to play this reharmonization. It's just so intense. And but it's really good. And she played that, and by the end, like it's like it builds and builds and builds, and by the end it's just like huge. And my whole body was just shaking. Like it was just like, this is so good. So I got to sing Helmsley in the morning, and did not disappoint. And then I went out for lunch with Jennifer. We got noodles. Jennifer is like my best friend from choir. We used to sit next to each other in choir when I was an undergrad. And I'm trying to convince Jennifer that we should have like a massive birthday party next year, because she's turning 40 and I'm turning 30. Her birthday is like a month before mine. And I'm like, we should have a huge party in Toronto. 30th, 40th, huge milestone birthday party. Let's do it. So maybe I'll convince her to do that. Jennifer's response to that, if I suggested it seriously, she'd be like, why don't we just go backpacking? Because Jennifer loves to go like hiking and camping, and she just bought a kayak. She has this tiny like little Nissan Micra, but she could put a kayak on the top. She's like, yeah, I'll just get a roof rack. Why not? So she's got a kayak now. She's gonna get this. She's like, I don't know where I'm gonna put it, because she lives in the city. She's like, maybe I'll bring it to my parents' house until it's the summer, and then I'll figure out what to do with it. But yeah, Jennifer's an avid outdoors woman, as am I, but I don't do as much like camping as Jennifer does. So maybe we'll just go camping and hang out together in the backwoods of Ontario, instead of having a giant party. But we went out for lunch. Then I went to the Trinity Advent service to sing with John again, because they had an Advent service. And we did not do Helmsley because Andrea, the chaplain, canceled it. Oh, when I was a senior, in fourth year, she canceled it. And we thought she canceled it because it was the wrong Sunday of Advent. Like it wasn't the first Sunday of Advent. But then John was like, no, Andrea thinks this is an anti-Semitic hymn. So she canceled it for that reason. Everybody I tell that to, they're like, no, it's not. But you know what? I'm not the boss of Trinity, so she canceled it. But I did sing it in the morning, so it was worth it. And we did Helmsley. That was great. And then we did, the Advent service in the afternoon was fantastic. It was really nice. We got to sing one of my favorite pieces of all time, which is Josquin des Prez, Ave Maria. Josquin des Prez is a composer that I had never heard of until I went to do a music history degree. He was like the Beethoven of the early 1500s, though. He was a really, really important like figure in Renaissance musical history. And he was like a counterpoint genius. And his Ave Maria is like the classic music history motet that you have to study of counterpoint, because it's just like his most classic, famous piece. And so we studied it in class, and I think that was the only time I've ever like legitimately cried a little bit in music history class. The ending is like really sublime of that. Although my friend Jeff, because Jeff, Lexi, and Christy all came to the Advent service, and Jeff was like, I didn't like the ending of that. It was too abrupt. And I was like, Jeff, you and nobody else think that. That's the best ending in almost all of Renaissance music history. Like, it's so perfect and quiet, and the polyphony ends, and it's just like it's like chordal harmony, which is called homophony. For those of you who don't speak music, it's just like a bunch of chords instead of like a bunch of lines going crazy. I'll link a recording of Ave Maria Virgo Serena by Josquin in the show notes because it's so good. I have to see if I can find the B major recording because that one's so good. It's in C. It's usually sung in C major, which is a terrible key to tune because of the fourths. The semitones are not easily tunable, and it frequently goes sharp or flat. If you do it in D flat, you have to have sopranos who can sing, so up a semitone. You have to have sopranos who can sing really high and have fantastic high range but it's helpful for the altos if you bump it up because it's a really low alto part. Like the alto and tenor are basically at the same pitch. So, because it was written for men and boys. But if you do it down a semitone, which is better for the sopranos, that's hard for the altos because they're singing like F sharps, maybe F sharps, maybe even E's at some point. It's really low. So I once programmed it for a 1 on a part service at St. T's with my quartet and in college, and I bumped it because our alto, I bumped it for her. I thought it would tune better, and I knew that I was like, I have the high notes to do this. We're going to do it, and I bumped it, and my alto was very grateful. Yeah. Speaking of, she just sent me a Christmas card today with a picture of her bunny on it, which is really cute. It came in the mail. His name is Mary, and it says Merry Christmas on it, which is really cute. Anyway. Yeah. It was pretty much it. Sunday, yeah. Then Jeff and Lexi and Christy and I went out to our favorite classic pub, the Duke of York, around the corner from Trinity, where we always used to go for choir pub night. And then we went out to get cheesecake at Futures, which is on Bloor and Brunswick, and they have delicious cheesecake. And they probably still have all-you-can-eat pierogies. We used to go get all-you-can-eat pierogies, but nobody ever ate more than they gave us. And my pierogies are better. So, yeah, but we went. They have really good cheesecake, and we all 4 of us went there for cheesecake, which was nice. So I felt so sad on Sunday. I didn't have that much time with my choir. We really just had church, and then I was busy for the rest of the day, and I didn't come back and sing with them in the afternoon because I was singing at Trinity, and then I wanted to go out with my friends, and I was like, I can't go sing a third service without any rehearsal. That's too much. But yeah, I didn't get really enough time with some of my people there, and my friend Marianne I also hadn't seen in 3.5 years because she has a 5-year-old, and she was not even 2 the last time I saw her. And now she has another kid, and he's 2, and I just met him for the first time yesterday. Marianne is a really good friend, and we did a lot of catering gigs. She used to do catering gigs when I was an undergrad. And I also did not get enough time with my friend Elizabeth, who's an organist, and she is about to retire. So hopefully next time I go to Toronto, she will be a little bit less busy, a lot less busy. That would be great. She's not retiring from being an organist. She's retiring from her regular job so that she can spend more time with her, doing church music with her organ. I don't think she has an organ. With her piano, maybe. I hope she gets a dog. She really wants to get a dog. But I felt so bad that I couldn't come back and sing later, and she said, I wish we could just clone you, which was really sweet. I said, I wish that too. I would love for a second version of me to live in Toronto and never have left, but alas, I did. People constantly ask me, do you want to go back there? And I'm like, well, yes, but I live here. I've lived in America for a long time now, and I don't really feel like I need to go back and live there, but I would really like to, I think. I still have a lot of friends who live there in a nice big community of church musicians and undergrad friends and stuff, and I'm sure I would enjoy it. But yeah, I live here now. My life is here, which makes my friends sad, and sometimes it makes me sad. Because it would be nice to go to church music in Toronto all the time. It would be really nice to do that. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, it was a busy week. And I didn't get a ton of knitting done, but I got plenty of knitting done. So, if you're still with me, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Like and subscribe Sorry for all that life stuff. But I know some people watch it, and I'm just like sitting here talking to the camera. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised Jordan's not home yet. She said she thought she'd be gone an hour grocery shopping, but we have a grocery store that's really close now, so I'm surprised that she would be gone that long. But maybe she's being deliberate. That would be good. Anyway, yeah, smash that subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment if you feel inclined. And yeah, that's all. This has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye!